anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DiPrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
We love you.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not to unsettle you. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tavis Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580, good morning. Happy Friday and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First, and my very first thing today and every day is giving thanks and giving praises and asking for blessings from the Most High. Asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and let's go. It's a Friday, so we do it this way. The first hour is left coast, whatever's going on west of the Mississippi, most especially on the Pacific Ocean side of town. Hour 2, we do Freedmen Friday, where we focus on reparations. It's a comprehensive conversation meant to make sure we're part of the momentum of bringing reparations to fruition on a city, state, local, county, national and international level. In the third hour, we kind of do whatever. It's Friday, so we kind of freestyle it on a Friday. Might have a surprise for you, but more than likely we will have super open phones. We always have open phones. It's a policy I have, 800-920-1580. When I'm on the mic, you have a way in through this telephone or through the chat room, youtube.com, KBLA 1580. There's always a comment section that is fire, so you can jump in that way, and I encourage you to do so. Meanwhile, I'm being joined. It's every other Friday, so it's time to hear from the president of ES Advisors. He's also a contributor to KBLA Talk 1580. Ed Sanders, good morning.
Dominique, good morning. How are you? Happy Friday to you.
I'm Friday light. How are you?
That's a good way to approach it. Feeling the same.
Friday light, lightheaded, lighthearted, and, light-spirited. It's just, there's just so much craziness, and I feel like we need to designate certain days when we're going to go against the grain and just, smile and push through it.
Yeah, to say the least. Some days, and hopefully every day, everyone finds a way to get outside and just, take a moment to walk around the block, exercise, do something, but not dwell in too much of the craziness going on.
Yep, you got big games, you got big, you're a soccer dad. That was funny.
Yeah, but joyfully, we've come to the end of the season, so I get my weekends back for a little bit, That's why I'm Friday light.
Joyfully is hilarious. It is, it's a whole different outlook on life when you have kids in this town, the way that you view politics, fires, anything, traffic. And I feel like I wish that more of our politicians had kids. I think we'd see more action around pedestrian safety. We'd see more action around this cleanup, even though I know Mayor Bass is a mama, and she's doing the best she can. But I feel like I remember when I was on the Commission on the Status of Women, I was actually appointed by Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, and it was a great commission, but it felt like it wasn't set up for anybody who had kids.
You sound like you were listening to a conversation I was having earlier this week about sort of that very issue, really relative to sort of the Democratic Party and the future of the party. We were kind of debriefing or talking about the last presidential election and some of the subsequent races and what we were seeing. And ultimately, we felt like the party was not speaking to families raising children so much, and that was a big turn from where the party had been, 30 years ago, and that the issues that families face raising children, whether it's the safety in the city, but even just preparing our kids for life through the education process, that we really needed to double down and understand what the obstacles were, what the hardships were, and speak to those as a party. And so it's funny that you bring that up today.
Yeah, because that also ties into the party being out of touch economically. Because if you have children, it's just a whole different outlook as far as what it takes to afford to live in LA or in California, any part of California, where I was reporting on this article in the LA Times this weekend that said now in Orange County and I believe it's San Diego, $100,000 a year is considered low income. And that's true for most of LA County, San Francisco, and other places. And if you add a family on top of that, I mean, I love my kids, but kids are expensive.
Kids are expensive.
Kids are expensive.
And what you end up doing is disincentivizing, families, or disincentivize having children. And, culturally, we're not there, right? I think you're finding more people that are just choosing to be single for a variety of reasons, right?
Yeah, the millennials and the Gen Z are not interested in having babies, and I think, maybe they will get there, but I think a lot of it is economic. They're not crazy. They know they can't afford a home, let alone an apartment. But this is one thing the Republicans and the Democrats, I feel, do have in common, because Republicans are on this weirdo J.D. Vance thing about, this whatever Handmaid's Tale thing about they want all women to have 25 kids, but all of their policies don't support working families with children. So, they're cutting all of Head Start and all of these different kinds of programs that help families with kids, but they want to force families to have kids. Dems claim, they want to underwrite the social safety net, but they're so out of touch with the average person and their financial struggles. It does feel, even though I know it, I don't see a viable thing forming on the horizon, it feels like it's time for another party or two.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely time for a reset. And a lot of it is driven by the news cycle or social media and whatnot, but the news cycle in general, right? How the news editors determine what stories to put on people's mind and how they do it, right? And the point being that the issues that we're talking about really aren't talked about in sort of our popular media news and that sort of thing. You really got to dig down to, podcasts or shows like this where you raise the issue. Quiet plug for
Yeah,
for
I'll take
KBLA.
it. I'll take it.
But because it's not on the front page of the LA Times or the New York Times, it doesn't. I don't know that we're all talking about it. Our political conversation isn't shaped in that direction.
Yeah. Well, look, you know how I feel about my beloved Democratic Party, of which I've been a member for my whole life, in which I have had moments lately of feeling like I'm ready to go be part of Working Families Party, not the Green Party, because they seem so like not factor, or something, because I feel like we lean too far to the center. We lean too far to the pablum, to the nothing, to the corporate blah, blah talking point that means nothing, in co-opting, being afraid of, running from, trying to undermine the progressive wing of the party. I mean, AOC and Bernie Sanders are bringing out tens of thousands of people, and we want to lean into this mythical voter Republican who's supposedly going to go Dem. All this other stuff that, right now, the sort of party, usual suspects are all saying, oh, the Democratic Party's gotten too radical left. No, it's just the opposite. You've gotten too nothing burger. That's my take.
Good take. And we would have a healthy debate on it. No faction in the party has enough strength to win a national election, whether it's the progressive side or mod or whatever badge or jacket you want to put on somebody. It's hard even for me to fathom it, because I think people change on the issue, right?
Yeah.
If it's economics, you can get more progressives. We all want to see working class people, create more opportunity. But it turns to civil rights, and a lot of the allies that we're talking about, will pull back on civil rights issues,
especially
that impact our community.
Yeah, especially right now.
And so it's hard for me to weigh it in sort of like a progressive mod sort of lens. It doesn't fit neatly, particularly when it comes to our issues. I think more the point, and where I think we've talked in the past, whether you're Democrat, independent, whatever, you're looking for the policy that impacts you and your community, positively the most. And if a Democrat can echo that and say that, then okay. But if they can't, just because they're Democrat, I don't know that earns the vote. And I think we've seen that out of the last couple
Okay, so
years.
maybe it's about how we're labeling it. Maybe we don't have to label it progressive, but I don't know. I'm in team, Bernie could have won. I'm team, like, if Biden would have followed through on the things he tried to co-opt about the progressive agenda, maybe, he would have had higher popularity ratings. Maybe we wouldn't be where we are right now. I mean, I know he had a lot of obstacles, i.e. he tried to forgive student loans. Now they're doing collections on steroids. The policies are popular without the labels. I think we agree on that. But I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on the other point. I believe a progressive agenda can win a national election. I don't believe we've seen it tried. Obama was a moderate. Name a progressive Democrat that's had the backing of the party, that's even had the opportunity to run in a national election.
Well, I think that's the point, that a progressive candidate has to seize the mantle, and thus far has not. And that's the point. Like, you have to seize the mantle. And I agree. I agree with you. Like, you know, I've driven progressive politics as hard as I can through the years, and you know, it just simply hasn't taken control of the party on a national level.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, okay, we got to continue this conversation when we come forward. Ed Sanders is here. You're invited in, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. We do have a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Can your pad absorb everything and stay fresh? Always Radiant with Flex Foam can. Get up to 0 leaks, 0 odor, and 0 feel. Because Flex Foam is the only pad with a flexible foam core. You heard me, foam. Always Radiant is so thin, it feels like nothing, yet protects like nothing else. Can your pad do that? For up to 100% leak-free protection, try Always Radiant to see what Flex Foam can do for you.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number, because Ray, he's going to text it live, and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
Can your pad absorb everything and stay fresh? Always Radiant with Flex Foam can. Get up to 0 leaks, 0 odor, and 0 feel. Because Flex Foam is the only pad with a flexible foam core. You heard me, foam. Always Radiant is so thin, it feels like nothing, yet protects like nothing else. Can your pad do that? For up to 100% leak-free protection, try Always Radiant to see what Flex Foam can do for you.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
KBLA Talk 1580. Okay. Ed Sanders is here. I'm Dominique DiPrima. You pretty much knew that, and you're invited in at 800-920-1580. Ed, guess who's on the phone?
Oh, I can't wait. Well, I don't want to guess publicly. You tell me.
It's Dwight from the city of Compton. Hi, Dwight. Happy Friday.
Good morning. Good morning, Dominique. Good morning, Ed. I'm wishing both of you a enjoyable weekend. Be safe out there and enjoy yourself. And Dominique, I know you got a lot of running around this weekend, so enjoy yourself and get your rest when you can. And good morning to all the workers here at KBLA for keeping us informed. Tavis, Miles, the KBLA family, and the hardworking post workers out there. And Dominique, these Republicans are so full of it. They all their agendas are racist. They only want more white children. They don't want more minority children, because if they did, they would fund the child tax credit. That would be the most easiest thing if the Republicans could do if they were serious about helping families that want to have kids. Restart the child tax credit. That brought half of the poor children out of poverty during the COVID pandemic. And it's so sad that we have to have a pandemic for them to do something to help poor people. And another thing, Dominique, the proof, is the Republicans expose themselves every day. They destroyed the Department of Education. They're trying to destroy Head Start. They're trying to destroy the food assistance, housing assistance. If they were serious about doing something to help families that want children, those are all the departments they wouldn't. They're only interested in helping billionaires get a tax break. That's what all this destruction about our government agency firing all these thousands of federal workers. It's all to put money in billionaires who already got more money than they could spend in their lifetime. But that shows how racism is just an evil disease. They fool me every election, Dominique. I think that they were going to do the right thing by electing Kamala Harris. And they put a convicted felon, which is, I have convicted felons in my family, and other than the grace of God, I could have been one. But that was not the best selection for, like when the program with Jim Brown. Make your best, evaluate the problem, and then make the best selection. Donald Trump is trying to destroy America. That's his only goal. He's trying to get them to okay a plane that that want to be given by Kuwait, I think it is, and then have him remodel
Qatar,
it into Air Force One so he could keep it after he retires out office. He can't get us to pay for him to remodel a old plane. It's old because they don't want it. That's the only reason why they gave it to Trump. And then he's going to keep it so he's going to have an Air Force One equivalent jet flying around when he retires as the president that we have.
You mean if he retires? You mean if he retires? Yeah. Ed, thoughts?
So
that was Qatar, by the way, or Qatar.
Qatar. Yeah, I'm sorry, Qatar. I mean. And the plane is 14 years old, and it would cost billions of dollars for them to rewire it and investigate, see if it's got any sound devices on it. And then Boeing is already working on a new Air Force One Boeing jet. They're the only ones that make it now. But anyway, Dominique, that's enough of my rant about these racist Republicans. And I wish you a great weekend. Ed, have a great weekend. And thank KBLA for getting us all the information you can, Dominique, and keeping us informed. I love KBLA. Thank you, and happy birthday early. Happy shout out to the victims of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And also I just want to say that we are so grateful for your station, Dominique. Keep up the great work. And Tavis, Miles, everyone there, keep up your great work.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend yourself, Dwight. Dwight brought up a whole bunch of stuff like he typically does. Anything you would unpack there, Ed Sanders?
Oh, man, I always love hearing Dwight go. I was just sitting here and my mind was just racing on the grifter in chief and how it's interesting to see how this country is accepting just this blatant display of it. That even with it right in our face, I don't think the majority of the country truly realizes how corrupt this administration is, right? And I get the anger over the airplane. I look to the question of the insider trading, right? And the announcements of the tariffs and how many members of the administration and Marjorie Taylor Greene who profited, by selling stock right before or buying stock right before the tariff announcements were made. It's that sort of gamesmanship and sort of the fleecing of the country and the economy that's taking place, and it does not extend down. So when Dwight talks about who they want having children, it's really clear that they've structured their government and their priorities for only a certain set, and it's the wealthy whites, not not all whites, just wealthy whites in this country.
Yeah, and to your point, the plane is just an easy symbol. They've got both fists in the cash register this time around. What, not the least, which is all of the fines and lawsuits going away for Elon Musk, who continues to funnel money to the president and now to other members of Congress. Musk has broadened his strategies, no longer just bribing the president. He's bribing some members of Congress. I don't know if the plane is going to fly, though, because the right-wing influencers don't like it. The Ben Shapiros of the world are whining, and the Laura Loomers of the world are complaining. So I think the right might shut this particular one down. They're calling it a bribe and stuff. But to your point, they could care less about the other ways he's stealing. So he might as well back down on this one. And he's got plenty of other ways he's fleecing us.
Yeah, what sounds so crazy is that the plane it looks like it feels to me like the shiny thing, like waving over here. And the real issue is if you turn and look the other way, you can see the true billions of dollars that are being fleeced. If he wants the plane, he's going to get the plane, and you know what I mean? Like, I think he's shown that, and I think he's shown the ability to marshal his own support. Those right wingers. Let me put it this way: everyone on that side of the of the aisle seems to get in line when he wants something. And so, while they may not like it today, if he really wants that plane, they'll be singing his tune by next week.
Ed Sanders is here with me. You're invited to be here with me, either on YouTube or on the phone at 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Milwaukee Judge Hannah Dugan pleaded not guilty to charges of helping an immigrant evade ICE.
It's very scary to admit that the democracy you have believed in all your life could actually be threatened.
She's citing Trump's Supreme Court immunity ruling as her defense. Protesters rallied in support. Her trial begins on July 21st. Florida executed the Casanova killer by lethal injection Thursday. Glenn Rogers, convicted of murdering single mothers across the U.S. since 1995, offered victims' families the hope of closure, saying all of their questions will be answered, and praised President Trump in his final words. And Kennedy Center employees are unionizing after Trump-era layoffs, calling themselves Kennedy Center United Arts Workers. They're partnering with the UAW. Over 60% have signed union cards. The center hasn't responded. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The LA Sparks play their WNBA regular season opener tonight in San Francisco against the Golden State Valkyries, a new franchise in the WNBA. The Sparks are hoping for a complete turnaround from last season. Their 8-32 record put them at the bottom of the WNBA, and they missed the playoffs for the fourth straight year. The Sparks have a new coach in Lynn Roberts, who came over from the University of Utah, and they traded for three-time All-Star guard Kelsey Plum, who has won 2 WNBA championships in her 8-year career. The Denver Nuggets forced a Game 7 in the Western Conference semifinals against Oklahoma City. The Nuggets beat OKC Thursday night in Denver. Game 7 is Sunday at OKC at 12:30. Live coverage on ABC. In the East, the Boston Celtics will try to avoid elimination and force a Game 7 against the New York Knicks. Game 6 is tonight in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit casmpvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money, or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join the Children, Youth, and Family Collaborative, CYFC, for their 25th annual Foster Youth Awareness Walk on Saturday, May 17th at 8 a.m. at Susan Miller Dorsey High School, 3537 Farmdale Avenue in Los Angeles. This community-centered event brings together advocates, supporters, and youth to raise awareness and resources for foster care programs in the greater Los Angeles area. Please register at Eventbrite CYFC 25th Anniversary Walk. Congratulations to the Children, Youth, and Family Collaborative on their 25th annual Foster Youth Awareness Walk. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you indeed. You're invited in at 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. So two couple stories that hit different if you have kids like you do, like I do. Walmart, biggest retailer in the nation that's known for being cheap. I call them the evil empire because they pay low wages, but that's another story for another day. They're announcing they're going to raise their prices because of the Trump tariffs. And they're not the only ones. Particularly, we're looking at higher costs for toys, but also car seats and other things that you have to have if you're a child. And they're not the only one. Several other retailers are saying, Mattel, the folks who make Barbie and Hot Wheels, saying they're going to have to raise their prices as well. I'm sure this is just the beginning. By the time we hit the holidays, family persons, toys may be unreachable for our budgets.
Yeah, it's look, I think everyone in the world is looking at, the economic markets and trying to understand what the United States is doing, particularly, on these tariffs. It's interesting. Like I guess they cut certain deals, right? And the question is, are they going to get all their deals done so that there's some stability at some point? Nonetheless, even with these deals, I think you can expect higher prices on commodities that we import for sure. Chief among them, everything that we bring in from China.
I.e. everything at Walmart.
Right. Or Amazon, or, about everything.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we haven't really been hit that hard yet by the tariffs. They're pretty new. But all of those deals feel like they're collapsing just as fast as they're getting set up. And we're charging tariffs. We're not doing it. Even if they keep doing that and never have a steady policy, that erraticism is not good for consumers, right?
Yeah, and that's it, right, and that's the craziness of it, right? Is that that even in announcing these tariffs or the threat of these tariffs, you've seen some spikes in costs. But now you're getting it from, quote, America's #1 retailer in Walmart. And that should be concerning for Trump. I think he will take direction from the effects on the stock market, right? And when the CEOs that he cares about see their stock prices drop, they will apply pressure to him. But if there's any reason that those CEOs feel like on the backside of this that they're going to do better, you can expect that he would keep going with this. I don't know enough about it to forecast the future, other than the chaos is for us.
Yeah, I'm looking at the
what is gas going to cost?
Yeah, I'm looking at the conversation in the chat. Paul Lee says there are no deals. It's all theatrics. I mean, so what we've had so far is a sort of memorandum of understanding-ish thing with China. What we got 90 days, and then really what we have is Trump agreeing to hold off here and there, but not long-term deals. He also said more than 60,000 metric tons of U.S. food sitting in storage. E.C. Courtney says it's sad that a free world country can be so sad. Molly Bell says, perhaps for me that was an omen when Gerald Horne was a guest and I called in his book, White Supremacy Confronted. Love you, Dominique. Love you too, Molly Bell. I don't think we're seeing the impact of it fully yet. Whether, Randy called in yesterday celebrating lower gas prices. If that is true, I haven't seen them. But if that is true, it won't last. And so all this temporary pain that Elon Musk and Donald Trump have been talking about, and they mean pain for you, not for them, because their wealth will insulate them from any of this. I think we're barely seeing the beginning of it.
Yeah, no, and it has the potential to get much worse, right? And we know that every summer the cost of gas rises as the oil companies switch to the summer blend or whatnot.
That's a Cali thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but and couple that with the refineries that shut down in California, we know our gas prices are going to go up. We are seeing the impact of some of the disasters of the fires and what that's going to mean to our insurance costs. We laugh about it, but the price of eggs is sort of that first thing that we point to. We could see the food cost increasing, and the cost of living is going to rise. It is doing so as we speak, and we all feel that, right? Like if our wages are going up, then fine, we can keep up with this measure of inflation. But if your wages are staying stagnant, you got less money for the things you want to do, that's the part of this that's so disheartening. I will say it again and again, but they're playing billionaire monopoly, right? Like they're not impacted. They're making money off of this chaos. We're the ones that are impacted, and that's what's frustrating.
Yeah, exactly, and it gives them the opportunity to privatize some stuff, as we'll see long term. I should have mentioned my Freedman Friday guest today is rap artist Jay French. I know you guys love arguing with him on Instagram. That battle, Ed, you might want to jump in the comments there, is raging and has been since he was on a couple weeks ago. So he's coming back. And they're talking about, race versus ethnicity versus nationality, because he said, don't call me black, call me American.
What time do you have him on?
That's Freedman Friday. Yeah, Freedman Friday is always our second hour. Oh, good. Ira's on the phone. I'll let you argue with him. But Ira, I'm going to tell you right now, the minute you start your personal attacks on me, it's click zzz. Okay? We're not doing that. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Ira.
Protect black women. I'm here today with the Black Jobs Report. Have you seen that last month 108,000 black women lost their jobs?
I have.
And the pace is quickening?
Mm-hmm.
This is the beginning of what we've been talking about, what happened in at the civil rights movement. The beginning jobs were meant to be for the black males. They were given to black females in order to break up the black community. Now that plan is in place. This isn't the 2025 plan. This goes back to 1965. And what's happening is they're dividing and conquering the black community by giving black women the opportunities that they're now taking away, and that base that black women were depending on it's vanishing. And they've got nowhere else to go. They're gonna crater the black community because the Trumper is cutting off the federal aid, the housing assistance, jobs.
I want to let Ed talk to you, but I do need to interject this. This is why I keep telling you guys this talking point that DEI only helps white women is BS. It's total BS. It's to make you think it's not an attack on us. Most of the people that lost their jobs at the Department of Education were black. Many of the DEI officers at these corporations are black women. And not only that, when we only count the jobs, it doesn't look at grants, it doesn't look at sponsorships, it doesn't look at other ways that DEI programs benefit black people and black businesses. And I think it's meant to make us go to sleep and not respond to this. Your thoughts, Ed?
Look, I don't disagree with you, and I think the stats are reaffirming your point. It's clear. I think one aspect of this is us being able to continue to track the data. If I remember back to Trump, 1.0 during the first administration, they stopped tracking a lot of the important data that we needed to make these to understand what was happening. And while we may have data today, I worry about the data collection as we get into future years and what we actually know to be the problem. We'll need to figure out some ways there. But everything I think you said, I agree with.
Ira, you want to land real quick here?
Yeah, I appreciate it. The bottom line is this. As a community, the best of times for black people was segregation. We can't go back to that. We won't go back to that. But the problems for us are going to only multiply because, remember, we become a matriarchy. 80% of the children born in Los Angeles today are born to single mothers. And those single mothers are losing their edge. We're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we ever had an edge, but thank you for that. That's another talking point that I am not fond of. Oh, things were better in segregation. I understand the point that it was better when we had our own black businesses and we were forced to patronize them because nobody would let us use their businesses. But there's a lot of pain and problems that came with Jim Crow segregation. And I think this little tendency that I see right now on the internets to glorify it is just another dumb talking point. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean it's a look back, right? And your point is that there are elements that were positive. It's hard to look on the internet and get a full picture of anything in a 30-second social media post, right? And it always, we talk about where you get your news, right? And so if those little snippets or what you're seeing are what are driving your opinions, do more to better understand, the timing. There are some positive aspects, but to your point, segregation cut us out largely from, the United States economy. And could we have integrated and maintained those structures? Yes, and that's probably what we should be looking at is how we could rebuild those structures that were strong during segregation.
Wow. Yeah. Well said, Ed. Ira called 800-920-1580. He called 800-920-1580. And I'm inviting you to do the same. Freedman Fridays, our next hour, hour 3. It's going to be just on and popping on a Friday. We're just going to talk. And if you don't talk, I will. You know how we do it. Man, there's so much going on. I think I'm going to say that every day for the next 4 years. KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud.
A great place for progressive politics.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least liked to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Ed Sanders is here. You're invited in, 800-920-1580, like always. So, I on Fridays, Ed, you know, it's like I want to go through the national news because we know it's Freedman Friday. So in hour 2, we're going to be talking reparations. But there's some local stuff that is top of mind, too, i.e. the testing of the soil in Altadena, because it was not mandated, apparently, for the Army Corps of Engineers to test for toxins. And the county is doing cleanup, but not testing. Many homeowners, and this to me is when I started out saying you look at things different if you have kids, many homeowners are worried. You move back into your house, and if there's toxic stuff there, your kids can end up, with all kinds of different disabilities. You yourself can end up with cancer. And so activists in Altadena are calling on the governor to step up and fund this soil testing. There's a letter signed by faculty from 9 different universities, UCLA and USC among them, who are doing their own free soil testing for some homeowners. And they're calling on the Newsom administration to stand in the gap here.
Yeah, I step back and I look at, our responses to the fires, and I think we've put a premium on speed of response.
Right.
And, in that we're not having a very full conversation about really, really what we should be trying to do. And, one of the things that I think got lost in the speed or just the cost of it or however, was preparing or making sure that the land that we're talking about is safe to build back on. And soil testing is the evidence of that. And the reason why I say speed, responding to this with speed, this idea that we've got to get people rebuilt like right away. While I understand that people have been displaced, these are some of the things that fall through the gap, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna end up having long-term problems. If you look up and whatever is in the soil, if it causes long-term health problems, it does you no good to build a community on top of a toxic, land site. We try not to do that with landfills and other areas where, we've got a whole series of brownfield, laws where you've got to clean up the land. You don't build homes on top of, old industrial sites, that sort of thing.
Well, that's why I don't understand why the federal government says it's not mandated for us at present. No partial specific soil testing is required or recommended by the state for residential purposes. Blah blah blah. That's what their line is. But why would they say there's no soil? It doesn't make sense. You're asking families and some elders, right, to rebuild where there could be toxic substances. And according to some of those professors who've done their private testing, those toxins are fairly widespread. And what that means is they would need to dig down, further to get to safe land.
Yeah, you got to clean the land up, right? And that's an expensive process. And, this is, ultimately we tie this all back to politics on the show, but, this is where the federal elections have consequences. The federal government is not a partner in this cleanup process. And absent the federal government to sort of set the foundation on how we clean the land up, the state doesn't have the resources, the county doesn't have the resources, and we know, the city doesn't have the resources.
Right. At the same time, Altadena activists are saying we need $200 million to help the homeowners rebuild so the community stays intact because all these folks who are uninsured, we've got this big budget deficit. Newsom won't even fund the state law for ethnic studies. So I don't see how Altadena gets help on these things right now, unless, I don't see the governor making the kinds of cuts he would need to do to fund those efforts.
Yeah, it's exasperating, right? And I think what most of the frustration sort of centers on is there's not a clear path, right? I think the conversation that you just laid out that we just had, it runs you into this circular point where I don't know what steps to take next, right? Where do I go? Or what should I do? And I think people are left in sort of this lurch of how to navigate this. And, we know that we could do better. We could lay out a plan much better than what we're doing.
Well, the other thing is, to your point, Ed, go ahead, don't test it, let everybody rebuild. You don't think that's going to be expensive? All of these cancer cases and all of these other kinds of ailments which are going to go into our public health system, and you're probably going to get sued on top of that, so there's more money. It's just like the Doge cuts. They're totally being offset by all the lawsuits and stupid other things they're doing, like firing people and having to hire back new people a week later.
Yeah, look, city planning and where and how you build things is a critical question, right? We can look locally. It doesn't. You don't have to go to Altadena necessarily. I think back to the Atlas Metals case down at Jordan High School. That you have a metal recycling plant right next to a public high school, and what are the health implications of doing stuff like that? We've got examples of that all over the place, but in this case, it's really this lack of plan or direction that you can give people on what they should do after they've lost their home. And that's the hurtful part about this.
Yeah, sure is. I know you're a Howard alum, so I got to bring you the news, Ed. My brother, Ras Baraka, was in court yesterday. It turns out to be simply a plea hearing, so we won't get any solid details about what the court's going to do. He obviously pleaded not guilty because he is not guilty of a ridiculous, petty federal trespassing charge. Every lawyer that I've talked to said it's just the most disproportionate and ridiculous thing that they've heard in a long time. So we just have to wait and see what happens.
No, lifting your brother up, giving him all the prayer and strength. I when I saw you over the weekend, it was a high five for him. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the fight that he's taken to the federal government. He's got a silly U.S. attorney that she got her post because she defended Trump in some actions, right? I don't know that she's that qualified. I shouldn't say qualified, that good at what she does. But kudos to Ras for standing up on an issue. He'll get through this definitely. And speaking of Howard, the commencement was last week, and LeVar Burton, he gave the commencement speech. So LeVar Burton, and I thought he did a pretty good job. And certainly this time of year, want to lift up all the graduates. Right, we're mid-May, so all of the college graduates, we're starting to see the posts on Facebook and Instagram. And, I just want to take a moment to congratulate all of those families. And in my own, I want to send a special shout out to my father, Stan Sanders, who received an honorary doctorate at Whittier College yesterday.
Oh, nice. Congratulations, Mr. Sanders. Yes. Congratulations to our own Tandiwe Abdullah, who just graduated from Howard during that ceremony. And yes, it's a legacy spot, and prayers going out to all those students who are trying to graduate while dodging ice this week as well, this season as well. Funny, but not at all funny.
Indeed. It's a beautiful time of year to see all the graduates.
Yes, indeed. Ed Sanders, thanks so much. As always, it's great to talk with you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me on. Talk to you soon.
It's time for Friedman Friday. That's next with rap artist Jay French and more. Your phone calls always. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Milwaukee Judge Hannah Dugan pleaded not guilty to charges of helping an immigrant evade ICE.
It's very scary to admit that